All right, guys, welcome to the Talking Shed podcast. Today we've got a full house. Got a big day today. If any of you guys follow us on social media, you might have a clue what the heck we're doing today. But let's do a little roll call of who all we have in the house here today. Why don't we start off with the gentleman to my left?
My name is Lee Kilpatrick. I'm the U.S. sales manager for the Salford Group.
And he's the guy that we record the awesome podcast on in Louisville Farm Show. That was a fun one.
It really was.
That was
it
fun.
Really was, man.
All right.
Dave Gonkelman with the Salford Group.
We've had him on before. You all familiar faces and names here.
Mm-hmm. Gary Fennig, one of the owners of Fennig Equipment.
We've had Dad on before.
And yours truly, Cody Cisco.
And Cody has to be in this one too. We like picking on him. We're allowed to do that. But today is a very special day. Lee flew up into Cincinnati last night, yesterday afternoon. We're doing kind of, Dad's calling it more of a customer appreciation month in a way. But today what we have is Salford appreciation dinner up here in Salina. So we thought, well, we need to invite Lee. Lee's from Georgia, so, you know, it was a big deal for him to come up here. So Lee comes up yesterday afternoon, and today we're doing some BBI training. So why don't you just walk through, Lee, kind of your experience so far this morning. It's about 1 o'clock on Thursday. Tonight is our event. Walk us through what we've done so far.
Oh, man. It's last night I was invited to Gary and Angie's house, and family came over, and I got to hold a baby for the first time in many, many years. Just tears rolled down my face. So that was a beautiful experience. This morning, all the folks at Fennig are here. I got the undeserved honor to get up and address the crowd this morning. So that was genuinely special. Some of it was good, some of it was mediocre, but I got it done. And then we got a chance to spend time with the service people, which is, if you sell equipment, the only way that you will thrive and the only way that you will survive to sell a second one is if you have those guys. They are the lifeblood of sales. So it was an honor to get in front of them, and it always gives me a chance to bring things back home that make us better as a company. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So that was cool. And then we got some time together with all the salespeople, and that's my heart, man. That's my people. And we just talked about selling value and selling things that make changes to the economics on the farm. So that was very cool. And then I had some really good chicken wings.
We just finished that up.
One of my favorite things. So it's been incredible, and to have a Salford Appreciation Day just blows my mind. It's testament to all of the incredible work that you guys have done furthering our brand. You know, we wouldn't be here without you, and I'm so excited to get into a room full of Salford customers and learn what they'll tell you what you need to know if you can listen. You know, so I'm absolutely honored to be in this room, to be in this place, and to be a part of this experience. It's been awesome, man.
Yeah. I talked to some of the sales guys earlier in the week, and I said, you know, Lee's coming up. It's going to be a big deal, and they've probably heard that over and over. And I said, guys, I'm telling you, you need to get to know Lee. You need to talk to Lee. I said, he's one of us. I said, he is over sales in Salford, but he's also one of us. He wears the same hat. He knows this spreader as much or better than anyone out there. Mm-hmm. I said, you guys,
very kind.
You know, they may shrug their shoulders at someone who comes in that, you know, oversees some big jobs within Salford, but whenever they can talk the lingo that he did to them on hydraulics and why we use carbon shafts versus aluminum and where the hydraulic flow goes when you turn the high torque manifold, they're like, whoa, this dude's for real. Like he's down to earth, and that's what I told them to watch out for. I said, you watch. Lee will talk your lingo, and he'll, in fact, he knows it enough to get over you. Mm-hmm. And so that was good because, you know, there have been people that come in and sometimes they're kind of just flying high. But when you can come from where Lee did, starting fresh, building spreaders, making changes to them, that's a big deal. That's a big deal because someone can get up there and talk the talk, but when they can walk the walk too, that's a big deal. And I know the shop guys saw it.
I'm very grateful. I can't imagine running a sales department and not knowing your products. You know, I've had people tell me we just need to hire a professional sales manager. He doesn't need to know anything about equipment. Man, what world are you from?
Yeah.
How's he going to help us when he doesn't understand? So it's, you know, I've been blessed, man. I didn't come by that naturally, man. And I always want to be real with those service guys because they're expecting some silk tied
Yes.
to come in here and
They were.
don't really care what I care about them, man. I care about their lives. I care about the equipment that we produce. I care about their experience. I can't fix it. There's always, you know, I can't fix everything all the time because there's always going to be something.
Right.
You know, the stuff's built by humans.
Yep.
But those are very kind words. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so it's a very special day for us to not only learn, but thank the employees, thank the guys at Salford, and then tonight we're going to thank the customers, and it's going to turn out to be a big deal. I know of some guys coming tonight that definitely weren't there last year. It's guys that I didn't expect to come that are going to be there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. You know, the Nova one was good, but yeah, we'll have to do a podcast on the results of that. You know, in the future. But we had one of our best customers in house too this morning, Matt Johnson. Dad and Matt go way back. I mean, when do you think you sold your first product to Matt Johnson?
It was probably 2010, 2011. I think I sold him that triple tank air cart that he referenced to in the list of items that he purchased from us. But Matt is he's on the cutting edge. Him and his boy is, and Matt was always the one who had it first, and we figured out, you know, how to make it work. But he does go back to my early days of selling and getting this business started, and he's still a very, very good customer today. So the longevity of that relationship in today's time really means a lot. What we have.
You know, we have a lot of great customers out there, and you could have honestly picked a name out of the hat for a good one to come in here this morning.
Right.
But man, we picked a good one with Matt Johnson. You know, not only like we described a customer this morning, not only is he a customer and someone that we're going to walk side by side with, but he feels like family in a way. I mean, I could drive to his house without even thinking on how to get there. You know, I bought a pig from him the other day for one of the boys, and I think, you know, stuff like that, you just build that relationship, and then Zach's getting ready to jump in too,
right?
You know, and they grow popcorn. I don't know if
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, strictly popcorn. They don't grow number 2 yellow, and so everything they do with popcorn is a little bit different. Which, you know, in my mind, Matt thinks so much out of the box that I think number 2 corn is like kind of boring. Like I think he's so good and smart and down to the line that he's phenomenal at growing something else. So he has to tweak a lot of things that he's doing strictly for the popcorn. Like they tell him when to plant the corn. You know, the quality of the kernel when it's harvested is so crucial. Whereas, you know, you go out there with a combine and mow down number 2 and you roll and no one cares about the quality per se. Popcorn's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah, we had the opportunity to do a podcast with him, and he just, you know, he was just kind of going through the history of his family farm and this and that, and then he got into the whole popcorn situation. Some of the practices that he does are just, you just don't get that opportunity to talk to some of those guys that are able to do that application. So being able to talk to him and brainstorm with him, it's a really great honor for us.
it's just a totally different crop.
Well, and you know, I read and saw some stuff about popcorn a few years ago, and it really opened my eyes. This is a truly American product, and Orville Redenbacher is an amazing guy who failed and failed and failed and failed, and everybody told him, "You're absolutely out of your mind," and he signs a lot of paychecks. It's a great story, man. Popcorn in America is just a phenomenal story for your listeners to go back and check out. It's an American story of agriculture.
Yeah. So, what's going on in the Salford world? We've been getting tools flying in here left and right. I think you just said we're getting 2 more cultivators in. Talk about you guys. The VRT's new. Maybe what's coming in the spreader world, if anything. What's going on at Salford BBI right now?
Well, I'll let Lee comment on after me if he wants to comment on what's coming.
He's going to have to because it's out of the box now.
But
You think I'm going to let that go?
yeah. But no, I see another truckload's coming. That'd be the second one, or probably about the 5th one in the last week. So I mean, the good news is the factory's doing a really good job. Staying ahead of the lead times. Per se, and getting equipment out here. You guys got a lot of setup to do, a lot that you've done, a lot that you've already delivered for spring. So no, things are going really good that way. The VRT, like you said, that's been the hot, topic of discussion at the farm shows, and with the advertising that we've been doing and people hearing about it, it's driving people to. You just mentioned the other day, somebody called out of the blue and they seen it maybe on YouTube or whatever it was, maybe one of your videos or seen it in Louisville. So we're excited. Hopefully we get the weather and time to do a lot of demos, because there's a lot of farmers that want to demo that machine this spring if they can.
That's my biggest fear right now.
Yeah.
So spring's going to slip us by.
Spring's usually a tougher time to demo, but there's lots of guys that didn't get the chance last spring. We ran last spring with the first current model today that up there in Michigan in that irrigated corn ground, heavy corn. But guys want to see it in the fall, and then they want to see it in the spring to really see if it's actually a true all-purpose tool, and we proved that.
Right.
But now it's just blowing up. We got machines out here that thankfully we got in time for spring, and so the trucks are going to be rolling around trying to move these things around, and pretty excited for it, because the results that I've seen personally over the last year, it's been phenomenal.
Oh yeah. The growers that you talk to, when we talked to Gary White the other day at the Nova one, a customer went and talked to Triple K. But that is my fear. We've got a list of customers that are hot and ready and interested in this tool. When the weather breaks, it warms up, it's going to be hard to get to all those guys to prove to them that tool's for them. It's hard. You could put everyone in that room that ate today to do it, and I don't know if you would get it all done.
No,
because we don't have enough trucks.
That's strong of a demand.
But we're gonna try.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that you go back in our office at the farm. I mean, there's a list. I mean, there's 25 guys on that list that we've got lined up for demos.
And that's just the Coldwater locations.
Yeah, right.
List.
And
we got a list over at your Nova location that's getting pretty long too. So, but there's now that we got machines out that farmers have purchased in the last year, so that's going to help us as well.
Definitely.
Because guys are seeing them run, so that spreads in communities and things like that. So I mean, it seems like a big battle, but at least we have a customer that hey, Joe Farmer wants to talk to somebody that has one. At least we can provide that now, where a year ago we couldn't. So I mean, we're getting more and more tools that way to help us sell.
Yeah,
sure. That's one thing I wanted to comment on, is you were saying the factory staying busy, product showing up. I cannot tell you how impressive it is that you can order tools in September, August, July of last year, get a rough date, and it shows up in that same month that you were promised 6 months ago. I mean, that's incredible. And I can check on it in November. I can maybe change it. Maybe we ordered as a 12/24 and we convinced the guys to make it a 22/24 for us. That is unheard of. No other vendor could even come close. They would struggle to even tell you what factory it's being built at.
Yeah.
So I think Lee and I brushed on that at the Louisville podcast, but it's unbelievable. This stuff shows up when it's supposed to, and I get a lot of customers that ask me that. Well, how good do you think that timeline is? And I can confidently say it's good
Because they've been burnt.
Yeah.
You know, I have counterparts that do what I do with other brands.
Yeah.
And there's guys out there telling their dealers, I don't know when I can get it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
I couldn't
How do you
imagine.
sell it? How do you sell anything if you don't know when you're going to get it?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm blessed. You know, the Salford has done such an outstanding job of providing me with equipment to sell, just like, you know, your dad ordering equipment to feed all you sales guys. So, I
Right.
mean, it's the same thing. You know, if Salford doesn't provide me, I starve. If I starve, you guys starve.
Right.
You know, so I mean, it's just it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you just hear so many horror stories about different manufacturers not being able to get products to customers and stuff like that. And it'll take a year and a half, 2 years
yeah.
before they even see it. I mean, you got guys that'll order these tools and it's like, how in the, like,
And so much can change in that time
Right,
frame,
and
whether
it-
it's the market or just equipment itself.
Yeah,
what the
and-
demand's for.
and a lot of these guys are, well, yeah, I bought that tool whenever it was locked in at 3%, but now it's 7.5%.
Oh, yeah.
What's going
It's a big
on?
thing, too, you know, with interest rates,
for
so.
sure.
Well, what can really hurt a dealership is when there's a trade and you potentially either can or can't sell that trade.
Correct.
If you can sell it before their tool shows up, and you did, and now their tool's delayed, you've got 2 tools that are delayed. If you can't sell it until it shows up, now you may have missed a season.
Correct.
Maybe it's a field call elevator and you can't get it till August now.
Right.
Who you know, now you're going to
Exactly.
sit on that thing. So that's
Yep.
it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So
For sure.
I don't know how you can plan without that. So
Definitely smarter people.
I want to know where I get some Salford socks.
Oh, I can get you some, man. I can get you some. I got some red ones that are a lot cooler than these.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where-
I'll hook you up, man.
Dave, come
I've
on.
never seen.
Where you
those.
holding this
I
stuff
got
out
I got a. Must have been around Christmas time. I had
That's
a
when you
package
took
show
socks
up,
out.
and I got red socks. I don't know if it's from you or who. Didn't say
Yeah,
who
from the
sent
company.
it to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got these red socks. Like I'm afraid to wear them because they're that nice.
Yeah.
You should, man. They really make you stand out in the crowd. I like to wear them with shorts, you know, pulled up. Chuck Taylor
Kilt.
Yeah,
There you
I like to wear them with my kilt.
Yeah. There you go.
But, you know, as a manufacturer, I've been in the position to not be able to deliver to it at times. I've been doing this a long time, and that's really hard, man. I know it's hard on the dealership, but as a manufacturer, it's just hard on everybody.
Because this is the time of the day or time of the year. Sun's shining, starting to warm up a little bit. Grass is just starting to green. All of a sudden, it's time to plant.
Yep.
Where's my equipment? So
Yep.
this is when the phones really start ringing. Your phone rings, then my phone rings.
Right.
So constantly, daily, I'm looking at order status and looking at dates and things like that.
It's like as soon as the sun comes out, man, and it starts getting just barely dry on top. I
Yep.
mean, these matches just start going off,
yeah.
and they're just trying to light the fire under
Well,
your.
I mean, who are we kidding? Today's March 30th.
Yeah.
There ain't too many days left before the go month.
yeah.
And it could-
there's 5 of us sitting in a room doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why'd you have to say that in front of him? Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm wearing Salford socks. So
Yeah.
I'm not real sure.
Gary's sitting next to me. And he's
Yeah.
just his foot's moving, his legs moving, his fingers are moving. I mean,
You don't
he's-
get service up here.
Yeah, he's thinking about the next.
Why do you
what
think
I
we
gotta do?
Why do you think we podcast up here? Zero cell service. So it's pretty great. So Lee, what is it? Is it a self-propelled tillage tool? Is it a self-propelled spreader? What we got coming? Maybe.
Well, you know, one of the things that you have to do is you have to keep innovating on what you have, and maybe not innovating, but you have to keep improving it. That's a big part of it. You know, making things little tweaks, lots of little tweaks make the I series better and better, and still learning we're late in the iterations of the Halo. We've learned a lot, and I know there's more to learn. I know there's more to improve. There's a lot of things that that we need to do to improve our throughput. I have to step back for a minute and give credit where credit is due. Lisa Downey in Human Resources has truly stepped up and staffed our plants better than they've ever been staffed. Mike Amarino has put quality processes in place. The Linamar, the ownership of Linamar is bringing talent to help us. You know, they have some incredible quality folks that we just have this bench that we never had before. So there's a lot of reasons why some of these things are good, and it has, you know, and we have good dealers. We have really good dealers. We have really loyal dealers who know the value proposition and sell it, and that's huge, man. Relationship is everything in our business, and it's very important. And there are days that there's always the challenges to it, right? It's not what happens; it's how you deal with what happens.
Yep.
That makes a lot of difference, and little things matter a lot. So we're really blessed. Dave and I are blessed to be surrounded by a good group of people inside Salford.
Yep.
Did you
that's
notice how he deflected
I did.
that question?
That's pretty
That's pretty good.
good lesson for you
salesmanship.
people out
And
in
hey-
radio land.
And hey, I caught it, and we're just gonna move on. So
Here's your
that
sign.
could potentially mean that I don't know.
yeah, well,
There's
hey,
another-
I can read signs,
Tell me.
and I cannot wait to see the 3-bin Magna Spread Plus.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
it'll be
Me
really
too.
cool when we see
Now,
it.
that would be cool.
So yeah, coming
Gotta have a
fall
wish
of,
list.
Yeah,
And you know, just
like Matt
like
Johnson.
Oh.
Hey,
just like that, you know, whether it's a multi-product or, you know, you mentioned like a 3-point spreader. Every time you guys bring me an idea like that or something you think we need, you know, I take that to product management, and they actually do make a list and looking at what gets the most, what's asked for the most.
Oh, yeah.
And that, you know, they'll start to notice, well, this is being asked about a lot, and we need to look further into this. So I mean,
Yeah.
keep bringing me those ideas when you see stuff that you think that we
Yeah.
need.
Oh, definitely.
yeah, throw it at the wall and see if it sticks.
Right.
And you know, maybe it's a market you don't even want to get into for some reason.
Correct.
But so you know, just because it's suggested doesn't. You know, we only know, hey, they have this. Well, we
Right.
also don't know what it takes to manufacture that
Exactly.
and that. So
Exactly.
So
it could
go ahead. Sorry.
it could just be, you know, a product that
Right.
is just dead in the water.
Right.
So there's 5 of us sitting in this room. Which one of us is the reason why we're sitting in this room?
Which one of us? It's his fault.
Yeah, it's Gary. So Gary, it's an important day, and I'm just curious how you're feeling today, and what your emotions are, and what is it like for you to look out at that group of people where there was just maybe you and your brother back in the day.
Yeah, back in
Like-
the day, we only had, Mitch Leonards was my first employee. I was telling somebody that this morning. And today we had, I think now we're up to 28 employees, two locations. And I was out there looking over the crowd this morning during breakfast, and like I told you last night at dinner, Fennig Equipment has something real special, and what was real special was the people that was there this morning. That's what's special about Fennig Equipment, and we got a good group. My emotions today are pretty high right now. Got a lot on my mind, thinking about tonight. That's going to be fun tonight. You're actually going to have live music there tonight.
Oh, really? I didn't think they were.
Yeah, going to have live music. So sort of a lay back, treat the customers like they deserve to be treated, and go forward. But it's been, with Dave Gunkelman, Jeff Worley, and I was thinking about it this morning. I met Lee probably 5-6 years ago at Farm Science at the farm show. And we really haven't spent too much time together. I mean, yeah, we talk a little bit at the farm show, then we have dinner at, after the show at night, but
today and last night was the first time really that I've spent several hours with your in your presence, and it's been a real joy. It's been fun. I think back how all this got started and where we are today, and I mentioned this morning in my talk at breakfast. There's several people that I reach out to every week, to gauge what's going on in the business, or should we be ordering this, ordering that. And Dave Gunkelman's one of them. I know I've talked to you several times, Lee, Jeff Worley. So there's a lot of feelers I have out there trying to help me make some decisions on the business and where to take it forward. So, but no, it's been fun. It's been real fun.
What are some of the keys to your success?
I guess one of the keys is hiring good people. Mm-hmm. I had some words yesterday for the 4 secretaries in the office, and I had Zach Hedrick come, and I never will forget this speech, and I use this constantly, and then my employees are probably tired of hearing it, but Zach Hedrick came, and he talked to all the employees, and one of his statements was, act like you own it. Yeah. And I told the 4 girls in the office yesterday, I said, we have, you 4 act like you own it. I mean, you belly up to the bar, you get the work done, and not only them 4, but all my employees. They know what needs to be done, and they all do an excellent job. But it all goes back to, if you act like you own it, it's going to work out for everybody. You think 28 employees, it's not much, and it's not hard to take care of. But
I don't know about that.
You try to do it for a day,
yeah,
and answer the phone calls and deal with some of the stuff that you just have to deal with. That's part of it. But at the end of the day, it's pretty neat what we have going on here. It really is.
That's awesome, because every problem is a leadership problem. I believe that very strongly.
Right.
How do you keep that spirit alive? Because the world, everything stands against us, brother. Everything wants us to go the other way, to turn the guns in. How do you keep that going in your group? How do you foster that?
I think one of the main reasons, and I'm not bragging, but I'm right out and I'm laying down in the middle of the driveway with them, doing the work. And I'm a pusher. I mean, I get up at 4:30 every morning. I go to the gym. I'm at work before 7 every day. And I push my sales guys. I push my shop guys. I mean, they know what needs to be done, and they know when I mean business, it's time to get this stuff out of here. But I think I push in the right way. I know I might have some days where it might come across the wrong way. What are you laughing at, Cody? But at the end of the day, I'm not the guy that's going to sit at home and hopefully it gets done today. I'm going to be the guy out here in the shop turning wrenches, helping him to get it done, so the customer can get his tool and get it ready to go to the field.
That's a big deal, but it's not quite enough. They must know you love them.
Well, I do.
Yeah, they must know it, because you can push people and they know whether you love them or not.
Right.
And that's a different, that's, I got to go do this, versus I need to go do this, man.
No. Yeah, these guys, every employee knows that I will do what it takes to whatever it is. If an employee needs something from me, I will do anything I can in my power to get that done. Mm-hmm. And we have awesome employees. And it's a family. I tell my employees, if you don't like working for a family business, you're not going to like it here. And I have Cody's my nephew. I got my sister-in-law, Amy. She works here. Adam, mom and dad, all my brothers. So
it's a family deal.
And hopefully someday at Nova here at our appreciation dinner, Adam had his boys there. And my mom and dad were there, so we had 4 generations there at the customer appreciation dinner. And I took a lot of pictures. I know a lot of you guys think I'm nuts, but I got a lot of pictures with Mom and Dad, myself, Adam, and the boys. But hopefully someday I'll have some grandsons working here. Actually, my one of my oldest grandson is going to start working here this summer.
Oh man,
he's 13, so he's going to work here part time this summer. But no, I mean, we got a lot on our plate here this time of the year. And it's like I said this morning, the next 2 to 3 months is going to be pretty stressful for everybody, not only me, but for everybody involved. And by the time we get the wide drop bars out, the applicators, the vertical tillage tools, there's a lot of work that has to be done yet.
There is, man. Spring really, it's not just the farmer that's stressed. Yeah, they are, but man, it's just I come into every spring just tight as a banjo string.
Yeah.
Right.
You know it's coming. Well, something's coming. You know a lot of, but there's always the thing you're not expecting, and
I think this year is a little bit different. I think with the markets the way they've been, I think a lot of guys might have pre-sold some crop. Now they're pushing the button to get it planted. We saw some changes on the crop insurance side as far as a little bit higher coverages, with what's going on in the world today. So I think this year could be the more pressure than ever, just because of the things that I just mentioned.
Oh, I do too.
That there's a lot of things riding out there on the line this year that guys want to capture that high price, but they got to get it planted first.
Yep.
Oh, look at interest alone. I mean,
the threats are huge right now in our country, in our families, on our farms. The threats are huge, and that's frankly scary too. But it's also an opportunity for God to show up. And I like that too, because He always does. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it'll be all right. But this is a very lots of variables this spring, lots of pressure this spring.
yeah, we've had, the employees that we got now working in the shop that we have now. I am so confident that equipment is leaving here better than it ever has. And so, we've, of course, every year we sell a little bit more and more, and you're like, man, how are we going to get this done? But equipment's also leaving here better and better and better every time. We liquid test these nitrogen applicators. The BBIs get gone through. The Salfords, I think, are top notch as far as assembly and missing stuff. Oh, I'm missing a bolt or whatever. I'm as confident as I've ever been in the team that's in there, and that's hard to say because you went from a team that you had that you thought was the best ever, and now you think you've got the best ever, and it's like, how could it ever possibly get better? And it does. You train them, they learn more, they go through more hard times, and right now we got some guys, our service trucks. We've got 3 service trucks loaded, ready to go at all times, and we've got the guys that jump in them, and I'm ready to put out some fires.
Well, if you look back about a year ago, we just got a brand new computer system. So everybody knows how that is with a brand new computer system. And I told everybody that at the end of last June, that's when our fiscal year ends. We had a hell of a year, and I said we will never probably repeat this year again. Well, when with a brand new computer system and all the distractions that are going on, we're going to top last year. So, that's awesome. Kudos out to the employees, because you couldn't do it without them. So that's awesome.
Team is really important, isn't it?
It is. It's real important.
I've heard it said, there's no bad teams, there's only bad leaders. And I try to tell myself that when things aren't going well. It's always about me. It's always something that I can do better. But there's certainly a solid team here, for sure. And it's a big, and I'm just telling the folks in radio land, it's a big part of these guys' success, and they are successful, is the people. My dad told me that my lifestyle would be dictated by the people I hired. And And the older I get, the more true I know
You're
that
exactly
is.
right. I told my wife, we just got back from vacation a couple weeks ago, and it was the first time I ever took 2 weeks off. And we got back, and I felt like that I'd never even left. And that told me right there that I have the right people in the right places. And I never had that feeling before. But once you experience a vacation and you're in charge of 20-some people, and you come back, and it's like, holy cow, what did I even leave for? But then the next time you go, you've made some changes internally, and you take off and you come back, it's like, they didn't even know I was gone.
That's a big deal.
They don't need me anymore. So that's awesome.
Gunkelman said it, not me.
Yep, he didn't say
That's
it.
awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I love spending a lot of time in the shop, and I know that could be the wrong thing to say, you know, when I'm a salesman. But I have a very close relationship with all them guys in there because they are the ones that deliver on my promise.
Yes, sir.
You know, I got to go out there and speak the word and show the farmers what we can do at Fennec Equipment. I have to get them to trust us as a business. They write the check, but then it's their hands that are delivering on my promise. So when product leaves here, I have to effectively communicate with them because all they know is what they have to do, what they have to build. They don't know where the customer lives, what he's going to do with this, how many kids he has, all that kind of stuff that kind of is important in a way. And so that's what I relay to them. And I love working in there, and probably to a fault. But those are the guys who have my back, and it's going to shine here in the next 6 months, how important that is, and the fact that we can communicate. I mean, I can communicate with most of them guys in the level that you communicate with your friends. Like you would say something that no one else would understand, but you could say it to the friends and they all know exactly what you're talking about. We have that lingo. And when you have that with a sales team that's sharp, it's pretty dangerous in my opinion. And so
Yeah, it really is. That's one of the hardest relationships because you're kind of set opposed to each other. But if you can create a team environment, the greatest thing is to work with guys you trust, gals you trust, man. That you know that they got your back and they're gonna, you know, my only rule with my kids was you have to be able to look me in the eye and tell me, not the only rule, that's stupid, I had many rules, but the most important rule, always do your best. If you fail and you can look me in the eye and say, Dad, I honestly did my best, we're good. Mm-hmm. But when you can't, we got to go fix it. We got to go do it. So you got a bunch of guys that are just going to try to do their best. Yeah. And that's what we can expect out of each other, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoy going out on the road with these guys. Devin and I went out on a trip, would have been Tuesday, to do a plumbing job. And as a salesman, I probably had no business being in that service truck with him. But what him and I tackled, he wouldn't have been able to do alone. Getting two sets of eyes on something versus one, it changes the game totally. Like he can come up with an idea and his idea is right, but then I'm like, well, why don't we take it a step further and do it this way? And then it's like, yes. And that happens all the time. But not only that, we can talk the lingo. We can get to know each other better. And cause that's the guy that's going to pull me out. Like go get stuck in the mud. Who you calling? Like it's him. And you think I want to see him once every other week and think I'm going to call him to pull me out of the mud? No, it ain't going to happen. But like, no, you know. So I need that guy in my back pocket, and they are. Yesterday, Cody and I went and pan tested a spreader. That's probably a service guy kind of deal. But how much better a salesman are we now that we can fluently pan test the spreader?
Intimate, man. I heard Gene Stallings speak one time. I was Alabama football coach, and he said, everybody in here that's an expert, raise your hand. And nobody raised their hand. He said, you're all fired. Because if you're not striving to be an expert, you're just a chump. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget that, man. And if you won't get in, service people know. who will and won't get in the ditch with them.
Yeah.
And if you won't get in the ditch with them, they'll get in the ditch for you too. They'll still get in the ditch for you. That's the beauty about them. But they're not gonna. They know. We all know about each other, right? If we're in or out,
Yeah.
and that kind of relationship. But as a salesperson, I've hired guys that did too much service work too. You know, that thought that was their. There's just this balance. I can't explain it to you, but there's a balance, you know, that particularly when there's something tough to do and you go with them, you don't ever forget that, man. And you get in there with them and you get after it. And, you know, I think that's beautiful, man. I think that's one of the keys to the success here is you got to have that relationship with them, man.
Oh, I think it sets sales guys apart. I mean,
100%.
You know, if you don't know your sales guy or your service guys, it just, because it expands you so much as a salesman on what you can do. Like I know what every one of them is capable of. And so I have a customer saying, can you do this? Oh yeah, I got a guy that can do that. Yeah, we can weld up some frames and laser cut and bend some pieces and then get them powder coated. That's no problem. You know, does everyone know that? You know, that we have that capability, that I can literally in a half a day have something drawn up on a computer and start whizzing it out on the laser. I mean, we can do that kind of stuff. You know, Seth and I talked last night about us making an advancement on some of these Salford tools. That'd be a really cool option, is a spare tire holder, like mounted off of one of the square tube beams and stick a spindle for the main frame, bolt it to the tire, and slide the spindle in a round holder and put a bolt through it. Like,
I think that's dynamite. All you got to do is get a flat tire one time, and you comprehend what you just said.
right. And you know,
Then you have a spindle too if you need one.
Yeah, I have a spindle hub, the whole assembly, man.
it would take like literally 2 hours for them guys to draw
think
it up,
that's
spit it
dynamite.
out, and weld it up. I mean, you bolt it on and away you go. I mean, not only does that help us because now we know that he's got a spare part, but now look at what that does to the customer. Like, oh man, look at this tool. Like, I've never bought a tool with a spare tire. Like, who does that? We do.
I think that's dynamite, man.
Yeah.
And,
So it's stuff like that, that knowing what you're capable of and what your service guys can do is just a game changer. You know, mounting cedars on this or that or whatever. It's important. But I asked Dave the other day, and this is probably a good conversation for everyone. I told him, I said, one of the things I struggle the most with is where my time is best spent. You know, I made if anyone's seen the wheat video I did yesterday, I sent it to Dave this morning. And as of this morning, I made that yesterday at about whenever you got your haircut, 10:30 or so. 9:30. We went back to the wheat field and did a video, and I named it, "You Can Seed Wheat with a Salford Tool," with a question mark. And Cody held the camera and I did a video. And as of this morning, we had 327 views in 20 hours. Okay? 327. Now, some of them may just be someone from, you know, a different country that's clicking, but I'm convinced that it's not. And I would be curious. I'm going to sniff around tonight and ask a few of these guys if they watched that video. And I want to get a decent poll of who is Salford owners. What I'm getting at is I tried to do a good mix of communicating and shuffling and speeding up things in the shop, shooting some videos to hit the number of people we're going to hit with this podcast, anywhere from 100 to 200 in the next 10 days are going to listen to this podcast. I got a Snapchat from Will Minshaw the other day, owns a Valmar, seeds his wheat with it on a Great Plains, listening to the Talking Shed podcast while working on this. I forget what he was working on. You know, like, everyone wants a salesman that can go out and beat on the door. But what happens when another company has a salesman that walks into a shop, they go out and beat on the door, and the farmer's in there listening to a podcast of someone else's? Isn't that what you really want? Yeah. So it's like, but I don't know, because there are a lot of customers I deal with every day that I would have never gotten if I wasn't beating on doors. So I try to do a balance of, I want to be in the shop to have the knowledge and the communication with my guys that are going to pull me out. I want to go shoot videos because of the number of people that we can reach and the 300 phone calls that are going to come into the office every month because of that. But I also need to go out and hit those areas and beat on doors because there's plenty of people that don't do this kind of stuff, podcasts and YouTube. But you can only reach like 10 people in a day. In the last 20 hours, 327 watched my ding dong talk about wheat in a Salford. You know, so I ask you, where do you feel someone's time's best spent in a position of Cody and I and Hunter?
Well, it's hard to say, but I will tell you a couple of things. One of my guys, Barton Bales, works for me, and he told me a story that really had an impact on me. He had there's a upper level executive at Case who always had a clean desk, and he asked him why, and he told him this. He said, "I know my goal, and anything that hits this desk that doesn't have to do with my goal, I throw it in the trash can." So he was able to focus on his goal. So therefore, this email from little Billy and Bobby didn't get his napkin or whatever. He didn't care because it wasn't his goal. So I think you have to set your goal. I think you have to stay after it. For you, it's an interesting time coming, man, because you're the son of one of the owners. So you're going to have to wear more and more hats as time goes on, and it's going to get faster and faster and faster. That my answer is all of that. All of that. And when you find that one of those tasks is overwhelming, but it is extremely important, hire somebody. The best thing is to hire somebody knocking on doors, because you know how to do that. You can do that. They don't know how to do the other parts. So figure out the parts that have grown. You've grown them to the place where they're overwhelming. Divide them up just like you did into pieces, and then pick the one that you can farm out, that you can grow somebody else, and it'll grow your business. You'll have more time to do the other things. So I think for you, it's really all of it right now, and little kids, and it's dynamic, man. We all, you know. Oh man, I didn't think those days would ever end. I didn't think I would. It was like being underwater and trying to get up, and I just can't get there. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I'm ever going to pop up. Well, brother, I got to tell you, you will, and it'll happen so fast, it'll make your head spin. Mm-hmm. You know, yesterday I held my babies. Yesterday they drove out the driveway to go to college. Yesterday one of them got married. I mean, I know that sounds trivial, but I mean it, man. If I could go back, I would spend more time enjoying that. Because some of it I truly hated, man. I hated it because I never felt like I was running so hard. I never felt like I was good at anything. Yeah. That's a lie. Very good at a lot of things. It's just a dynamic environment, man. So that's not a good answer, but prioritize and execute. I'm still from Jocko Willink. Prioritize and execute. And the things, if you're a man or a woman of hard-charging personality who is default aggressive, you will never get your to-do list done. Never. Yep. Never. Right. That's the nature of the game. So I don't beat myself up about what I did. And you know what? If something stays on my to-do list for more than about 2 to 3 days, I draw a line through it. I didn't mean it anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be tortured by it. So that's my simple advice for you, brother.
Yeah, I've learned that I am not going to complete my to-do list. That's my boy's job. I mean, I'm serious.
That's right.
And what really opened my eyes is the Groundhog Barn. It's a little place that my wife and I bought, and I have so many ideas and so many projects for it, and I'm about 8 months in. About 2 of them have been done. Yeah. And I'm starting to realize that in my lifetime, I won't get that place where I want it to be. So it ain't going to be my job. It's going to be the boys. Yes. I had a guy tell me the other day, "You tile that farm yet?" It was a farmer from Southern Ohio. I talked to him about it, and I said, "No." He said, "It'll pay you every day, 24/7. That tile will pay for you." I said, "I'll let my boys do it."
That's right.
They can tile
That's
it.
right.
I ain't got there.
And you know, let your people do stuff too. You know, in the early years of trying to manage salespeople, I was just all over them, just like a big wet blanket on their back. I'll leave them alone. Do your job, man. Do your job. If I have to do your job, then we got to make some changes.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
but you gotta let people around you actually execute and sometimes fail, and that's a hard. That was very hard for me in my 20s and 30s. Really, in my 20s, I wouldn't trust anybody with anything.
Yeah. You want to do it all because, like,
Nobody gonna do it as good as me.
right. So why let them do it, screw it up, and then me fix it?
Well, if you got good people, they'll learn something. You'll learn some leadership lessons, and they probably won't do it again. And then the next time they'll do it right, and you don't have to do it anymore. So there's just this fulfilling. It's a hard road, man. It's a hard road. I struggle with it, but I know that I have to let the people around me do their job too. Take things off of my plate. And sometimes I have to look at them and say, man, I need your help. Can you go do this?
Yeah.
I do a lot of that.
You have to be good at delegating.
You really do. It really is important, Gary. It'll keep you alive, man.
Because if you don't know how to delegate, it'll kill you. It'll bury you so fast. But if you have good people, delegate what needs to be done, and it'll get done.
Commander's intent. Let them know what you need, what the expectation is, and most importantly, the why, and let them do it, Gary.
Yep.
Yeah. I would agree.
But last night for supper, we had supper last night at our house, and so I invited Cody. So Cody said, well, his wife's coming, Sam. I said, okay, perfect. And I sent Adam a text. Well, he never answered text.
Send me a text.
You know.
You asked me who all was coming, and I said it'll probably just be me. And I finally twisted my wife's arm enough to bring the boys and Lena.
Yeah. So when the van door opened up, and I saw the three boys run into the house, I thought this is going to be a good night.
Yeah, man. It was. That was cool, man. They running as fast as they could to hug their grandma and grandpa, and that was very cool, man.
We had a good night last night.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Lane.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Oh, my gosh. They're nuts, man. I should have told them, Luke the other day, a couple weeks ago, he asked me just randomly, he said, Dad, how are Salford tools made? And I was like, yes. And I said, let me go show you. And I brought him down here to Wabash, and it was on a Saturday. They had one like half built, and I brought him in there. I said, right here, this is how they're built. Oh, wow, and it kind of started clicking. And I should have had him ask you that last night. I said, ask him how Salford tools are made.
I don't know. I'm in sales, man. I don't do that stuff.
That's what I should have told him.
No, man. Let's get your hands on it. Part of the magic.
Yeah, but no, it's fun. They're starting to understand. They know that we had planted wheat, and so they're like, hey, when are we going to make some bread? I'm like, well, we're not, but we're growing wheat. Well, I know. So it's starting to click, but well, we're creeping up on an hour. We've got a lot to do today. I can't wait till tonight. I think, I used to get nervous about these things, but it's like build it and they will come type deal. Like it would take a tornado to screw up tonight. Like Cody could take his clothes off and run through the room, and it might still be okay.
It'd sour the event slightly,
It
we would
would.
recover.
Right.
We would recover.
Either that or get one heck of a laugh. One of the two.
So
Definitely a laugh.
right, but what I'm saying is, I can't wait. It's gonna roll it. It's gonna roll itself.
It is.
When you're dealing with the quality of guys we are tonight, it's gonna be a good deal. So the Nova deal was awesome. Tonight is gonna be the same, and I'm excited.
We are too. We're very grateful to
be part of it.
Yeah, very grateful to be part of it. Honored.
Well, our next podcast together is going to be in Oak Harbor. Right before we catch everyone's limit of walleye.
Indeed.
The night before.
All right.
May 20, whatever I told you.
Yep. I'll see if I can get Dave to talk a little more next time. And maybe I'll say a
Why?
little less. I don't know.
Why?
I just thought that'd be a nice thing to say.
No, I look.
You're being a good leader, Lee, right?
I look forward to that kind of stuff because selling's fun. Doing what we're doing is fun. But if you ever have to do it alone, I wouldn't want to have to do it.
No, man.
Because it's all fun and games. But if you don't get to spend the time like what we did last night and what we're going to do fishing,
That's the payback, man.
it ain't even worth it if you don't. So it's that kind of stuff that, and when we go there, they're going to ask us or say, "You guys coming back next year?" And I'm just going to quickly nod and say, "Write us down." So,
Tradition.
yep. So then we'll have to see what the next one is. We'll have to start an annual coyote hunt or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, we do. We gotta go golfing again, Gary.
I think
Oh
we
my
do need to
gosh.
go golfing.
Yeah, we need to go
down
golfing.
in Georgia. Though.
Yeah, there you go.
So
There you go.
all right. Well, it's time to go. We appreciate everyone who listens and appreciate Lee and Dave and Dad and everyone who jumped on. So we had a great time and a lot to do yet today.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep. Thanks, guys.